Well, if you are anything like myself and you are planning a trip to somewhere exciting such as Rome, Italy, or Athens, Greece, you would probably use Google Maps, or maybe even for a more intricate look, you would utilize Google Street View. Um, you would use this to maybe see how far your hotel is to the Colosseum, or maybe how far a museum you're really interested in taking a look at, maybe from the Acropolis in Athens, for instance. Well, today on Second in Command, where we explore the known, the unknown, and everything in between, we're going to look into and chat about Gorgon Stare. While Medusa may be the most widely known of Gorgons, she is not alone. She had two sisters that were immortal, while Medusa herself was mortal, actually killed by Perseus, as Greek mythology goes. Well, today's Gorgon Stare doesn't operate in the same way. It may not turn one into stone, yet its constant glare and vision is what one most should be worried about. This type of technology is deployed upon most commonly the MQ-9 Reaper drone, but it also works in conjunction with some other drones and some other types of surveillance systems that we're going to go a little bit into. We're going to touch a little bit on that, and then we'll go a lot into the terms and things that maybe you utilize in a control room. While the US government may deploy several different types of drones, the three that I am most aware of that would be utilized in information gathering would be, of course, MQ-9 Reaper, as well as the RQ-170 Sentinel and the RQ-4 Global Hawk. Each of these three will perform different tasks and serve different purposes. The Reaper is more commonly used once air supremacy has been attained. Well, now to focus a little bit more on Gorgon Stare itself, Gorgon Stare emerged from a very specific operational problem in the late 2000s. The biggest problem was, how do you stop watching individual targets and start understanding the whole entire environment? So the early ISR platforms were excellent at zooming in, but they routinely missed what happened just outside of the frame. Gorgon Stare was designed to solve that by shifting surveillance from point observation to wide area and persistent recording. Technologically, it's not a single camera, but a networked array of sensors, multiple optical and infrared feeds stitched together into one continuous mosaic. So instead of following one person or vehicle, the system records everything within a large footprint, and that could be the size of a city. This allows analysts to rewind time, trace movement, and identify threads and patterns of life after the events unfold. So, as it's recording and they're following a certain subject, someone else in real time can go back and see who that person may have interacted with during that point in time. So, it's extremely useful and overcame several problems. So, its primary duty isn't identification in a cinematic sense, it's the context. So, who was where, when they were there, and how often they may have interacted. What interactions occur before an incident? What changed compared to normal behavior, also known as any anomalies or what have you. So, that capability is what makes Gorgon Stare so powerful, and it's got its controversies to it as well. So, if it's used domestically, it definitely brings up some issues and controversy in of itself. So the critics argue that such a system designed to record entire cities will blur the line between targeted surveillance and mass observation, especially as similar technologies migrate into civilian domains. While Gorgon Stare itself is a military system, its underlying concepts, wide area imagery, it's persistent recording and automated pattern analysis, aka AI resources, um, are increasingly mirrored in domestic aerial surveillance, smart city monitoring, and law enforcement analytics. Supporters counter that these systems don't watch people so much as movement, and that oversight, policy, and data controls, not the technology itself, determine how far they go. Either way, Gorgon Stare represents a turning point. It's surveillance that doesn't just observe the present, but stores the past, making memory, not immediacy, the decisive advantage. MQ-9 Reaper drone and Gorgon Stare has been shown in the news recently. I believe Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp on their podcast, Weaponized, released footage that was leaked to them, apparently, from someone within the know, of tracking a UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, or what others may call UFO. We've had that really recently. That's basically just hitting the news wires and a big buzz at time of recording here. And then within the last few months to a year, there's also been footage that was leaked and shown in a congressional hearing where two Reaper 9, MQ-9 Reaper drones were in contact with some type of drone or orb or what have you. And you may recall it actually firing a Hellfire missile at it and it knocking off of the UAP and three other little objects following along with it. So there's a lot of controversy with those two types anyways. There's debunkers and all that, where the truth lies, who knows? But those videos were apparently shot utilizing Gorgon Stare on the MQ-9 Reaper drones. Well, thank you again for tuning in. And really, to summarize things, Gorgon Stare is an array of cameras that are filming in different spectrums. So typically, from what I understand, there are 9 cameras that are mounted on the front of the drone. And as it's surveying a city, each of those cameras may be filming in different spectrums or what have you. And they are able to kind of take and stitch those technologies together and pipe them sometimes through an AI source that really can do a lot of the work and start detecting exactly what's going on and what they might be looking for. So a thread, as we've called it, a vehicle or person is, could be monitored. Say, for instance, they're looking at a certain individual that could be rumored to be, a terrorist or heading a terrorist organization. Maybe that person on a daily basis walks down to the market. They go down, they pick up their, breakfast in the morning and they come home. Typically, most people aren't out doing terrorist things every day. So this Gorgon Stare can be recording their daily activities, and there's no alert or nothing like that set until they do something different or they interact with someone different. Well, at that point in time, technicians can pick up, or an AI source can analyze that further. So while this drone has been hovering over the city, doing recording and things that might be mundane to some extent, then the anomaly is picked up in this daily activity of the so-called thread. They will, at that point in time, kind of isolate on who they met up with, and since it's all been recorded, they can go back and start backtracking the other thread in this scene and see who that individual may be, or gain more information and intel on that. So these things literally hover above a city, record just about everything that you can imagine in all these different spectrums. And they will turn around, and once something different pops up, that's when you can really start telling who's interacting with who, and create a web of sorts from there. So it's not always following someone to where they're going, because that can be quite difficult to really hit the nail on the head with, so to speak. Once you see something different out of someone's normal daily activities, then you can start backtracking and really start to figuring out what happened. So that's the real beauty and the genius behind this technology. Surveillance has always been pretty good. We've heard in the 70s with satellites reading license plates, but they weren't able to always kind of backtrack like Gorgon Stare can do now, and all the different spectrums and lighting differences and the whole different array of things. So it's a really phenomenal technology. I hope you gained a little something from today's video. And now you can decide whether or not you want to take it a step further and do a deeper dive into this. It's really interesting stuff, and there's some good talks on it. There may not be as much out there as other technologies. It's a relatively, I don't know, hush hush, secretive type thing. But the information's out there for you to take a look at. So once again, I really thank you for tuning in to Second in Command. I'm Lou Monty.